dear students. Today I am going to teach you about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Yeah, do you have it out there? Do the plants reproduce sexually? Yes, plants also reproduce sexually. In your earlier classes, you have learned about the types of reproduction, right? Reproduction types in plants and humans even. So, in plants, we see two types of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. And to understand that, what is asexual reproduction is nothing but simply we can explain as if you take a plant structure, right, it contains different parts like root system and shoot system. Roots in shoot system, stems, leaves, branches, etc. are there. When a new plant arises from these parts of a plant, which are called as the vegetative parts of a plant, then it is a asexual reproduction. And when a parent plant produces its new plant by the formation of seeds within a flower, okay, by the formation of seeds with the help of a flower, right, then it is called as a sexual reproduction. Okay, that's why flower in a plant is considered as a sexually reproducing part of a plant. Flower will help for the sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, now just recall what is the definition of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. When a new offspring is formed from a parent plant, here we are discussing about the plants, right? When a new daughter plant is formed from a parent plant by the process of formation of gametes, gamete formation and fusion of these gametes. Okay, formation of gametes and fusion of gametes, then such type of reproduction is called as a sexual reproduction. Vegetative propagation may be seen in different types of the plants, that is nothing but asexual reproduction may be seen in different types of the plants, whereas sexual reproduction is seen only in the flowering plants. Sexual reproduction seen in only flowering plants. Why? Because for the process of a plant to reproduce sexually, it should possess a flower. See, the flowers, importance of a flower. If we take a part, means the role of a flower in human life, right? Humans, we also get attracted towards the different types of the flowers. Why does the flower attract us? With its very immense what fragrance, very attractive, colorful, brightly, right, arranged petals, bright and colorful petals, it attracts us. Not only attraction, flower, it has an aesthetic, right, and also social, religious, and cultural value. Why? Because we use the flowers as a symbol of conveying different types of our feelings. Yes or not? Whenever we go to a party or a function, they greet us with the flower. Yes or not? So flower, it is a symbol of conveying our feelings, as like we may convey our love towards other or affection towards other by giving a flower to them. We can show our affection to them, or when we can express our happiness. Yes or not? Yes. Even flowers are also used to express the feelings of a grief, mourning, etc. So, flower not only in plant, see here, it has a role in a human feelings also, expressing the human feeling also, isn't it? Yes. So, flower has a fascinating hormone of angiosperms. Flower has a fascinating hormone of angiosperms. Why is considered as a fascinating hormone in angiosperms? Because, right, flower, the time a flower, right, before the time a flower it arises in a plant, the decision of the plant to make the flower, it takes place within the plant. That means, before a flower arises in a plant, the decision for the formation of a flower within the plant, it occurs. Understood? So for this, what happens is several hormonal and structural changes takes place. Several hormonal and structural changes are initiated. Right? Within a plant, different changes like several hormonal changes are initiated to ensure to assure that for the formation of the end products of sexual reproduction, that is nothing but the fruits and the seeds. Understood? For the formation of a fruit and seed, several changes will already take place before a flower arises in a plant. That's all. Okay, if you look at a variety of inflorescence, see, I have a very good collection of inflorescence here. What is inflorescence? Do you know what is an inflorescence? Inflorescence, the arrangement of flowers on a plant. I think you know the definition of inflorescence well, right? Arrangement. See the way how the buds, and also the flowers, they arise. They are arranged on the stem of a plant. So the pattern of arrangement of the flowers on the stem of a plant, it is called as inflorescence. Okay. And look at the diversity of inflorescence. What does it shows? That it shows an amazing range of adaptations. It shows an amazing range of adaptations. Okay, to ensure the formation of these fruits and seeds, which are the end product of sexual reproduction. So, such inflorescences are formed in the plants, which further leads to formation of floral buds, and the floral buds, they further develop and form as the flowers. So they form as the flowers. Okay. See the arrangement of the how it is a different type of arrangement of the flowers and buds in this stem, and here also a different type of arrangement. And also, for examples that I see here, if you look at this, in this also the flowers are arranged in a different pattern. Yes or not? So all these are the different adaptations in plants, so that they can ensure a proper formation of a seed and a fruit within that flower. Okay, that's all about it. Next, coming to it, let's look at the structure of a flower to observe the different parts of a flower. We'll draw the diagram of a flower here. These are it is a base of a flower, okay, and everything is modules are present, and this is the type of the lines, and it is the stem of the flower. So when we observe the different parts of your flower, right? So they are differentiated with their difference in their coloring and their shape, their structure. mark the different parts of your flower? Can you say the different parts of your flower? So this is the stem of the flower. It is called as a pedicel, and this the swollen base of the flower. It is the thalamus, and the green small leaf-like structures. These are called as the sepals, and the brightly colored structures which are called as the petals. Right now, the most important organs of a flower which plays an important role in the sexual reproduction of the flowering plants is these two inner organs. What do you call this? It is called as an androecium, and this one is called as a gynoecium. Okay, so when we take a flower, it shows different parts. When we take a flower shows different parts. Like the stalk of the flower, it is called as pedicel, and the green leafy structures are called as the sepals, and brightly colored and many in number, and the number of the sepals and petals differs in different flowers. Right, these are called as the petals, and this innermost whorl which arises from the base of the thalamus, it is called as the what it is? Gynoecium. And here it is a hibiscus flower which bears the androecium and the gynoecium. Okay, these small stalk with the yellow colored lobed structures by lobed structure. It is called as a anthers. Okay, of these different parts of a flower, right? Here there's a sepals and petals, and there's what it is thalamus and the stalk. All these are the non-essential parts of a flower, whereas the innermost two whorls, that is the gynoecium and androecium. Okay, the gynoecium and androecium, these are considered as a very important whorls of essential parts of a flower. Why? Because they take a role in sexual reproduction. Okay, they take part in sexual reproduction. Okay, that's about the flower. Now, coming to the pre-fertilization and structural events. Pre-fertilization, structure and events. Here, what are these shows? When we observe a flower, as already I told you, before the time a flower is formed, right? The decision to make a flower, it takes place in a plant. Okay, and for these several changes takes place in a plant which assures the formation of end products. Okay, now what are when we look at the different two important organs of the flower, what are the, as I told you, androecium and gynoecium. Right, these are present here. Androecium, what is androecium? It is also called as a male organ of the flower, or male part of the flower. Gynoecium, it is called as a female part of the flower. Okay, androecium is called as the male part of the flower, and the gynoecium is called as the female part of the flower. Okay, so in this lesson we are going to learn in detail about the morphology, structure, and also the process of sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, so to understand that in detail, first we need to go with the every point wise or every step wise, means discussing in detail about every part of the androecium and gynoecium. So further, first we'll start with the different parts of an androecium. Okay. So what is androecium? Androecium is nothing but the cluster of the stamens, means that all the number of the stamens which are present in a flower, it is called as a androecium. It is together, all the stamens together in a flower is called as a androecium. So first, let's learn about stamen. What is stamen? Each single this structure is called as a androecium. I draw the stamen structure. this is what stem. Okay, each stamen it has two parts. A long stalk-like structure is called as a filament, and here at the tip it has a myelin structure which is called as an anther. Right? Each stamen it has a long stalk called as a filament, and at its tip it has a bilobar structure. It is called as an anther. Okay. The number of the stamens, the size of the stamen, and arrangement of the stamens it differs in different species of the plants. So that means we can observe the difference in its structure, size, and also arrangement. The way they arise in a flower, it differs from one plant, one flower to the other, or else one species to the other species. In some flowers, we may see there may be 3 to 4 stamens, but in some species of flowers, we may see there may be more than 7 to 8 stamens. Have you understood it? So, even the size of the stamen also it differs from species to species. Okay, and the stamen it may either it will be attached at this proximal end of the stamen. It may be either attached to the hypothalamus. See here, it may arise either from the hypothalamus in this manner, or it may be attached to the petals of the flower. Okay. If you talk about the stamens, which are called as an reproductive part of a flower, the number of the stamens, the size of the stamen, it differs from species to species. And how they are arranged means sometimes in some flowers we may see that the stamens may be arranged from they may be attached to the hypothalamus, okay, or else they may be present attached to the petals of the flower, right? This is about the stamen, and this stalk of the stamen, and the stamen has a bilobar structure which is called as a anther. Okay. To learn in detail about this anther, when we do a transverse section, right? Yeah, to understand still better about the different types of the stamens, we can have a collection of flowers from different plants. We can have a collection of flowers from different plants. We can dissect them. We can remove the stamens, and next we can keep them, arrange them properly, and we can make an observation where we can differentiate them in their size and also their length and the number of the stems present in every flower, etc. Okay, through collection of different flowers and their observation, we can get a clarity about the product. Next, to understand the internal structure of the anther, what we need to do, we have to do a transverse section of the anther. We'll take an anther and we'll cut it transversely. So the diagram I draw here, the transverse section. Transverse section of an anther. Okay. Here, when we observe the anther, it is a bilobar structure, I told you, right? It is a bilobar structure. Okay. when we observe the transverse section of an anther, right, it has a four-sided structure. It has a four-sided structure which is a tetragonal structure. Okay, and it has a four-sided tetragonal structure with four microsporangium at the corners, two in each lobe. Two in each lobe. To observe externally, right, the anther, it is a bilobed structure. It contains two lobes. So these are the two lobes of the anther, and in each lobe it has two theca. It has two theca. This is what called as a THECA, theca. That's why such type of anther is called as a dithecous anther. It is called as a dithecous anther because it contains two theca in each lobe. Okay, and a longitudinal, what here? A groove runs throughout the anther. A longitudinal groove runs longitudinally throughout the anther. Okay, to separate these theca. Right, and here in this anther we can observe four microsporangium is present. This is what called as the microsporangium. It is called as a microsporangium. Four microsporangium are present in the anther. Okay, in the transverse section of an anther. Okay, and this microsporangium, it further develops when the anther matures. This microsporangium, it further develops and forms as the pollen sacs. They form as a pollen sac which bears the pollen grains. Okay, which develops the pollen, in which the pollen grains are formed. Okay. So this pollen sacs or the microsporangium, they extend longitudinally downwards and they bears the pollen grains. Okay, these are the microsporangium and they further develop as the pollen sacs, and these pollen sacs they further extend downwards longitudinally towards this anther and they bears the pollen grain. Okay, to understand in detail about how these pollen grains are formed within the anther, what we need to do, we have to take a young anther and do the transverse section of that anther and observe its internal structure. Okay, the diagram I am going to draw now. Yes. This is the transverse section of an young anther. Right. Okay. The transverse section of an young anther, it shows that it is circular in its outline and it is lined with a four-wall layer. It is lined with a four-wall layer. So let's draw the four walls of this. See, and this inside it contains microsporangium, right? So it contains the microsporangium. Right. So the transverse section of an young anther, it shows this type of structure where it is lined with the four-wall layer, right? The first layer it is called as an epidermis, and the second layer it is called as an endothelium, and the third layer is the middle layer, and the fourth layer, this is the fourth layer. Okay, later I'll draw here. It's the fourth layer, that is an epidermis. Right? When we observe the transfer section of an young anther when it is in its immature stage, during its early developmental stage, right? We can observe that it has a four-sided structure, and it bears, what it bears? Four sporangia, four microsporangia at its corners, two in each lobe. Do you understand? This structure, it is a transfer section of an anther. Okay, transfer section of an young anther. It shows that in each of its lobe, it contains two microsporangia. 1, 2, 3, 4, totally 4 microsporangia present at its corners, and it gives a four-sided tetragonal structure. It appears as it is, and this structure, it is surrounded by 4 layers, of which the first 3 layers, the first layer is called as epidermis, outermost layer. Beneath that second layer is called as endothelium, and internal to it the third layer is called as a middle layer. Okay, and the fourth innermost one layer is called as a tapetum. Okay, of these 4 layers, the first 3 layers, epidermis, endothelium and middle layer, these 3 layers are meant for the protection of the microsporangium, and further help in the formation of the pollen grains and dehiscence of the anther. Have you understood? They help for it protects the microsporangium, and further when the young anther, it further shows development when it gets matured. These layers help for the development of the pollen grains, and also it helps with the dehiscence of the anther, releasing of the pollen grains by breaking of the anther. Okay. Next, the innermost layer, which is called as a tapetum. This is important for the formation of the pollen grains. Okay, microsporangia, right? Microspores, for the formation of the microspores, which are nothing but pollen grains. When we observe this tapetum, right? Tapetum, these are the cells, nothing but these are the cells. And the cells of this, they are filled with a lot of cytoplasm, and they contain each cell of this tapetum. It contains dense cytoplasm, means lot of very thick cytoplasm, and it contains more than one nuclei. That means the cells are binucleated. They are binuclear. They contains 2 nuclei. More than one nuclei are present in the cells of a tapetum. Okay. Next, when we observe the internal structure of the cells of this tapetum during the younger stage, so we are talking about the young stage of the anther, right? During the young stage of the anther, what happens? The entire inner structure of these tapetum, right? It is filled with a similar type of cells. They are also called as a homogeneous types of homogeneous cells. Means a similar type of cells are present, and that similar type of cells is called as a sporogenous tissue. The tapetum is filled with the sporogenous tissue. I didn't explain about the function of the tapetum, right? The tapetum will help for nourishment of the pollen grains. It helps for providing the nutrients for the growing microspores. That means pollen grains. Okay. So of these 4 layers, 3 layers are meant for the protection of the pollen grains, and the 4th one, it helps for the providing nutrients for the developing pollen grains. Okay. Now, when we observe this tapetum, right? The cells in this tapetum, in this fourth layer, it contains a dense cytoplasm, and the cells are they are known to contain more than one nucleus. They are majorly they are binucleated. Contains each cell contains two nuclei. Okay, and when we observe this, we are observing it. Our observation is on a young anther, right? So in that young stage of the anther, it is we find that in this tapetum, a similar type of cells, homogeneous cells, are compactly arranged, and it is called as a sporogenous tissue. It is called as a sporogenous tissue. Okay. Each cell of this sporogenous tissue is nothing but it is a group of the cells, similar cells which are present occupying the center of the microsporangium. Okay. In these cells of the sporogenous tissue, every cell it divides by meiosis division. Can you say what is meiosis? Meiosis division, right? We can recall that the cell division is of two types, mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis division which takes place in the somatic cells and results in formation of two daughter cells, whereas meiosis is a cell division which takes place only for the formation of gametes. Are the pollen grains gametes in the plants? Yes. So here this sporogenous tissue, right? The cells present in the sporogenous tissue, every cell of the sporogenous tissue, it undergoes a meiosis division. It divides by meiosis. It undergoes meiosis division. And it results the sporogenous cells undergoes meiosis divisions. And what is the result of meiosis division? How many number of the cells are formed? How many cells are formed at the end of meiosis cell division? We know that 4 cells are formed. 4 daughter cells are formed, right? Similarly here also, in this, every cell of the tapetum, sporogenous tissue, right? It undergoes meiosis division, and it results in the formation of 4 cells. And these 4 cells, instead of presenting separately, they are together. They are present together, appearing as a tetrad. That's why it is called as a microspore tetrad. Okay, every cell is a potential. Every cell of this sporogenous tissue is a potential to undergo meiosis and form the microspore tetrads. Okay, later on what happens? This microspore tetrads, they further develop. They further develop as the pollen grains. Okay, how does it take place? Right, look, let's see here. So, and several such microspore tetrads are present within the microsporangium. Each microsporangium, it contains several thousands of these microspore tetrads will be present. Okay, later what happens as further when the anther develops, what happens? Certain changes takes place in the anther. It loses its water content, means it gets dehydrated. When the anther gets matured, it gets dehydrated. At that time, what happens? These tetrads, right? The cells of this tetrad, they get dissociated. They separate from one another, and they further develop and forms as a pollen grains. They form as a pollen grain. And here you have got one term to learn. What is that? Microsporogenesis. Microsporogenesis. What is this microsporogenesis? The formation of the microspores from the pollen mother cell. Here, as I told you, every cell of this sporogenous tissue is a potential to undergo the meiosis division and produce a microspore tetrads, right? That's why each cell is called as a pollen or the microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell. The formation of every pollen mother cell, it undergoes meiosis division and gives rise to the microspore tetrads. That means microspores are formed, and the process of formation of the microspores from the pollen mother cell is called as a microsporogenesis. process of formation of the microspores from the pollen mother cells. This is the pollen. Every cell is called as a pollen mother cell. Pollen mother cell. Okay, the process of formation of microspores from the pollen mother cells is called as the microsporogenesis. Right? And then as the anther further develops and it gets matured, right? The changes like dehydration takes place in the anther. Okay, and also that means the water, there is a change in the status of water content in the anther, which leads to dissociation. These are tetrads, the microspores which are present in the form of tetrads, they get dissociated, they get separated from one another, and later on they further develop and form as the pollen grains. When these pollen grains are formed, what happens? The anther further, the wall of the anther, it gets a break, which is called as a dehiscence. All these changes in the anther is called as a dehiscence, and finally a release of the pollen grains from the anther takes place. The pollen grains, which are called as the male gametes in the plants which are found within the anther, they are released out of the anther by the dehiscence of the anther. Dehiscence, what is the meaning of dehiscence here? Dehiscence is nothing but when the anther gets matured, certain changes takes place in the anther. The cellular differentiation takes place, and also the decrease in water content takes place, and finally it leads to releasing of the pollen grain from the anther. This is what called as a dehiscence of anther. So with the dehiscence of anther, what happens? Pollen grains, several thousands of pollen grains, several pollen grains, whatever the pollen grains which are formed within the microsporangium, they are released out of the anther. Okay, let's have a recall of the content. Right, first, if we take up the flower, a flower in a plant is called as a sexually reproducing part of a plant, and a flower it shows 4 different whorls, of which 2 whorls are considered to be the most important, which takes part in the sexual reproduction of a plant. Okay, which helps for the sexual reproduction in a plants. Right. So those are nothing but the androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is called as the male part of a flower, and the gynoecium, which is called as the female part of a flower. Androecium is nothing but the stamens, all the stamens in a flower, it is called as androecium. When we observe the structure of the stamen, right, it has a long, slender, stalk-like structure called as a filament, and at its tip it has a bilobe structure which is called as an anther. This is what called as an anther, and anther is a bilobe in case of angiosperms. Right, in this bilobe structure, when we observe the bilobe structure of an anther, it is when we observe the transverse section of a bilobe anther, it contains a 4-sided structure containing 4 microsporangium on its corners, 2 in each lobe. Okay, the bilobe structure, it has 2 lobes, right, and each lobe it is further divided into 2 theca. Each lobe contains 2 theca, so it is called as a dithecous anther. Okay, and now observing to the internal structure by transverse section of the anther, it has a 4-sided structure, and then it has a 4 microsporangium, 1 at each of its corner, as like a 2 present in one of them. In each lobe, 2 microsporangium are present. This is one lobe and this is other lobe. In each lobe, 2 microsporangium are present. Okay, these microsporangium, they further develop into the pollen sacs, and this pollen sacs, they descend, means they extend downwards longitudinally, and they bears the pollen grains. Okay, they contains the pollen grains. Next, when we observe the transverse section of an young anther, it shows its outer circular outline, and it is lined with the 4 wall layers. That means in its external surface, it is lined with the 4 layers of different types of the cells. The outermost layer is called as the epidermis, and the beneath layer to epidermis is called as the endothecium, and the third layer is called as a middle layer. These 3 layers, they are meant for the protection of this microsporangium. Okay, and also they help in the dehiscence of the anther and release of pollen grains. Later on, the 4th layer, which is innermost layer, it is called as a tapetum. So this tapetum is very much essential for the formation of the microspores. Why? Because Within the tapetum, the cells contain dense cytoplasm and also contains two nuclei. Okay, and within this, right at the center of this microsporangium, a compactly arranged, similar type of homogeneous cells are present, and it is called as a sporogenous tissue. It is called as a sporogenous tissue, and every cell of this sporogenous tissue is very potential to undergo meiosis division, and it produces 4 cells, and these cells are closely associated forming a tetrad structure. So such many micro and those cells are called as the microspores, and such microspore tetrads are formed within this microsporangium. Okay, later on what happens when the anther further develops? What happens? These microspore tetrads, they dissociate as the water content in the anther reduces. The anther gets dehydrated. It results in dissociation of the microspore tetrads, and these 4 cells, each cell of this which is called as a microspore, right, it develops into the pollen grains. And with the dehiscence of the anther, the pollen grains are released outside. Okay, in this manner, the male reproductive system androecium and the different parts of this androecium will help in the formation and releasing of the pollen grains, which are the male gametes of the